Alright guys, well, welcome to Between Sets with Frankie Seta. In my life, the music never really ends, it just pauses between sets, and that is where these stories really begin. Today's episode 7, I called it The People Who Stay. Before I bring Carol Marchetti on, I want to tell you why this one is different for me. Before there was a stage, before there was a microphone, before there was this version of me that people have come to know. There was Carol's voice comforting a hurt family, and at that time especially me, after giving my mother's eulogy at the age of 15 years old. And it was her voice singing at my mother's funeral. And honestly, you don't forget something like that. When you lose your mother at that young, the world changes shape. You still grow up. I promise you'll still laugh again. You still become who you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to become. But something in you understands, early on that life is fragile. Love is sacred, and tomorrow's not promised. For a long time, I wanted life to be black and white. I would fight that, good or bad, lost or found, here or gone. But I guess the older I get, the more I realize God often works in those gray areas, in the questions, in the silence, in the years sometimes years, truly, that we don't understand till much later. The more I learn, the more I realize how much I actually don't know. But the few things I do know, I know deep in my bones. I know God is real. I know Jesus has carried me when I couldn't carry myself. I know love does not die just because the body dies. I know pain does not get the final word. And I know music can reach places words cannot. I know some people stay because they're part of the story God's still telling in your life. As a Catholic man, I guess this is where I find my hope. It's truly where it comes from. I not from having every answer, but from trusting that, Christ is in the center of all of it. In the grief, in the memory, in my songs, and in the people who show up when the room is at its darkest, and that brings me back to Carol. Carol knew me before the world knew, this version of me. Like I said, she knew little me. I grew up with her kids. She knew pieces of my family's story. She still does. And I guess, there's something sacred about people like that. People who remember you before you're, I don't know, the world gets to know you, right? Before I put the vest on. And, those people, they don't see the entertainer or performer. I think sometimes, Carol sees the kid underneath. And, when someone sees pain in you and doesn't turn away, they become part of your story in a different way. Some people pass through your life. Some are there for a season. Some love you and still leave. Some teach you something and then disappear. But there are people who stay woven into that, my dad would say tapestry. The tapestry of your life. Maybe not every day, maybe not, and not even in an obvious way. But when you look back, you're like, oh, there they were again, in that room, in that memory, that turning point in your life. And for me in that song, that, helped me survive in that moment. Carol's one of those people. And years later, God brought our stories back together and around. And now Carol and I, we sat down last night to talk about music, motherhood, faith, family, some really good memories, some hard memories. And I guess the voices that, form us and continue to form us. She's told me in the past and yesterday that there are parts of, her father that I remind her of. And I don't take that lightly at all. But I do know that because sometimes God lets us recognize people through other people, right? Like you could see a father and a friend, a mother and a song, a wound inside a calling. And a loss inside a gift. A loss inside a gift's, I don't know, that the balance, right? And maybe part of growing older is learning that the stories we carry are not ours to carry carelessly, right? I think they're ours to protect, to honor, and to pass down, with love to the next generation. And I think that's what Between Sets is becoming for me. And, these conversations between the songs, the stories behind the people, the faith behind the survival, the grace behind the smile, the continued kindness efforts. But for me, this episode is a thank you, a full circle moment. Little Frankie and Frankie Seta sitting at the same table. Grief, shaking hands with music. And Jesus reminded me that the chapters I did not understand, he was still walking hand in hand with me the whole time. So, Carol Marchetti, thank you for being one of those people that stayed. And today, I hope you guys are going to really enjoy this. We're gonna talk about the why. So, without any further delay, here's my interview with Carol Marchetti. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, well, welcome to Between Sets with Frankie Seta. I'm very excited to be at at my good friend Carol Marchetti's house for this episode. We're going to take it slow. We've had coffee talk with Andrea. This one's going to be wine talk with Carol.
It's after 5 o'clock.
Cheers somewhere. That's what I always hear. No, yeah. We are doing this, we're recording this. We're doing a Sunday evening. We're going to have a Sunday dinner after this. We're going to get into all these questions, and there's no cheating, like I always want to say, because this is, but you know what? I've come to really respect you on a lot of levels. So thank you for doing this and for being in my life, because it's been...
I'm honored. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I don't know. I think there's some people that are here for chapters, and then there's some people that are here for a lot longer than chapters. Mm-hmm. And the story and how God's plan brings things together, and takes them apart, and
you never know what He's got up His sleeve.
You never know. So, but I know you. But before, because a lot of people watching this aren't going to. So, for the people meeting you for the first time, Carol. Mm-hmm. Maybe they've heard you sing because you got the voice of an angel.
You're very sweet.
But who are you when you're not holding the mic?
Oh, I'm a Mima, a mama, a worker. When I'm not holding the mic, I'm a child of God. I'm a seeker, always have been. A music lover, a hobby lady. I love to draw. I love to crochet, cook. I just enjoy life. Life has been a blessing, and I have great people in my life, and my daughter lives with me and my grandson, and I get to spend a lot of time with them. And they've
went to Notre Dame. He's a stud.
He's a stud, and I help them. They help me, and I just I'm a humble. I try to be a humble child of God.
And you are. You are. Well, we're gonna we got quite a few to get through,
all
so
right.
I'm gonna go through.
We'll see where we're going here.
And we'll start light. When you think back to your earliest music in your life, what do you hear first?
Definitely my dad's basement. My folks divorced when I was pretty little, probably around kindergarten. It was a shotgun wedding. They were a little mismatched. They both loved music. They met at the dance hall. But after a few years of marriage, it was a mismatch, and I had me and my sister. So growing up on the South Side, lived in a little apartment in Roseland, St. John de la Salle, and my mom was a good Catholic. My dad was more of an atheist. But anyway, to get to where the music, I would see my dad on Sundays.
Okay.
So when you are the child of divorce, as many are, you have one day a week with your other parent, and so my dad was very good at making it a very special day for me and my sister, kind of like you do with your kids.
Yeah,
you try to make it special because you love them. And my dad was he remarried, and he lived in Oak Lawn, and back in the day you finished your basement, you made it the party room. And my dad didn't just like music. My dad lived for music. It was, I think it kept him sane in a way. He was a deep thinker, hard worker, very German, sales rep, but music was a special relationship. He used to call all his record albums his flat friends.
Oh, I love that.
And he would say, we're spending the afternoon with my flat friends.
I love that.
He had two reel-to-reel tape decks. He had, when he passed, Frankie, he had a whole wall. He had custom furniture built to just hold his albums. He had over 5,000 record albums. And he wired his basement with surround sound before that was a thing. And we would just literally go in the basement at my dad's house after we had a nice breakfast. One thing my dad really taught me was gratitude and to slow down. We'd have an hour-and-a-half breakfast after we bought the ingredients. We were always grateful for having beautiful grocery stores. Then we'd go in the basement and he'd start playing music. And it would be Dixieland, or it was, he loved Earl Grant, organ music, Sergio Franchi. He loved, the great singers.
Yeah.
My dad was a romantic.
Yeah.
A romantic and frustrated musician. He sang a little in his youth. He went to California and you say literally sang for his supper. But that was where we would just, we were kind of enveloped in music. We had to listen to every word. He was very romantic. He wanted you to hear the poetry of the lyric, you know, and we just started to sing. He'd set up mics. He had a system back then. He could even kind of dub out the voice.
It's something.
It was way ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And of course, I grew up loving Barbra Streisand.
And what years are we talking?
Oh gosh, I was. Well, you know what the years are? How old I was?
Oh, how old you were? But I'm just trying to think of technology too.
Yeah.
You know.
So this would have been, oh my gosh, late '60s, early '70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, because we were kids, late '60s.
Well, because I could remember my dad's going to watch this, but the first time he hooked up the Bose, and he lived music too, and
Yeah.
but that so when I write these questions, Cal, I try to have somebody. I want to tell your story, So sometimes you answer the next one because it's true though. Did music find you early, or did you have to find your way to it?
No,
not
it
at all.
Found me.
Yeah, you're.
And
Keep
I have
going. Just keep
I have
going,
a recording.
Yeah.
From like second or third grade, singing, "A dream is a wish your heart makes" from Cinderella, and he just always encouraged us to either sing, or my sister, we loved to dance, and they loved to entertain. Back in the day, you'd have people over to your basement. He had the bar, and my dad liked his cocktails, and hospitality was big, but he just wanted to share the music with people. He would sit like this at his reel-to-reel tape decks.
Well, and let's because we have a lot of traditions, and we do, and that doesn't take away from any personal relationships or anything.
No,
it
no.
doesn't. But this gentleman, we asked him to watch over us. So
let's show. My dad's sitting at his reel-to-reel tape decks.
And what was your dad's name?
Frank.
Come on. It's a great name.
Frank Thomas Schubert. Yep. And Schubert, of course, being a musical name. And then later in life, when I became a church singer, I sang Schubert's Ave Maria all the time. I always felt like I was singing for Uncle Franz somewhere. But who was Franz Schubert?
Well, there you go, and that's kind of
I know. Yeah. It's kind of fun.
It's good synchronicities.
Yes.
I say God has these. God has His science and math too, and when you look around, you start seeing these things line up in your life. You're just like, people nowadays they'll call it the law of attraction, or they put the modern term on it.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, God's working His magic.
Oh, he's the.
We don't always see it, but
he's the weaver, the master weaver.
Yeah.
So music. And then I was a very kind of shy kid. I wasn't. I was a little awkward, but I started to sing in high school. I kind of came out of my shell, and I did some community theater. My first play was Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh wow!
Which was I was
That's
Hoddle,
yeah.
And the very first time I sang on a stage was with a jazz band at the Blue Island Community Theater, an old black jazz band just playing some great old jazz. And I don't know how I ended up on the stage. I was 14. And the guys, but I did. And then they said, well, what do you want to sing? And I knew the song, Tear a Star from Out the Sky. Don't Take Your Love From Me. And I remember the old guy saying, how do you know that song? And I was like, you don't know my daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so singing, and then I went off to college. I wasn't going to go into music or theater, but I was going into interior design and architecture down at Southern Illinois University, which I probably should have stuck with if I wanted to make money. But I ended up, again, registered late because we were disorganized, got into an oral interpretation of lit class, which was, then they were auditioning for a play about Narnia, the C.S. Lewis book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
There's a lot of deep in there.
100%.
Yeah.
And I was so naive. You're just so dumb when you're young. And you hope you're smarter now. Dumb,
but there's the innocence.
But you're
there,
following
though,
your passion,
and there's that innocence.
Well, this gentleman had made a musical version of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, so I auditioned and I got the part of Lucy, which was the little girl in the wardrobe. And that led me on this whole path of singing and theater. And my classes were way too hard in architecture and interior design.
Hey, time to make a little, we're going right, or whatever it is.
My poor pops, he wasn't real happy about that. But yeah, I started, and then I went to the Goodman School of Drama, and then,
kept going.
Well,
we're going to get in. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I would, but I...
Because this is pretty cool stories. This is Chicago, too.
Yeah, it was Chicago.
Yeah, it's very Chicago.
Yeah, and it was great. I loved the Goodman. It was when kids that are in college, man, don't blow it. Like it's like make the most of it. It's just you have so much freedom and passion and your opportunity.
Here we are, slow down. That's what my dad tells me.
Yeah.
Her dad told her, yeah, slow down, enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Soak it up like a sponge, because even my son, he's going into high school, and it's going to go in the blink of an eye. Those 4 years fly,
so
and it's going to be good, bad, and all the in between. But that's life,
But it was
It's
funny.
special.
My dad was very protective also, and he wasn't real.
That's good though.
It was.
Yeah.
He wasn't real keen on me being in the theatrical world.
Okay, so that was hard on you.
It was hard because he, and
It was probably hard on him.
There is
something.
there's an element to it that's dark. There's a darkness in the performance world,
Yeah.
and he worried for me, and so I ended up going after a year at the Goodman. It was actually my third year at college. I took the summer off, and he said, think about it. Well, so what did I do? I became a Gaslight Girl, which he didn't like either.
No. Well, I saw those photos.
He never came to see me sing.
No, and I can understand.
My
Nobody
mama
wanted
would
to put the
come
best,
see
wish you
me.
the best.
Yeah, but
Well,
he
even
was
little
cautious.
little Melanie, right? Little Melanie's learning
Yep.
"Fly Me to the Moon" on the piano, and she's absolutely killing it. And the things, I mean, and you could see the road, right? So I'm instilling those, because you know what? And unfortunately, it is what it is. Even in 2026, it's still a man's world.
Yes.
It very much is. And I look around and I see it, unfortunately, a lot. And for my daughter, for even the women in the industry.
Yep.
You see it. It's like you just said. There's some darkness there, and but we keep pushing forward, and I think knowledge is power with that. And then if you got Jesus in your heart, it's like, go get it, girl. Go live in that man's world, because you're gonna kick their. And you're pretty. Watch out, guys. But I don't want to go see you do that at the same time. So, but I'm going to teach you
That's
how to
right.
school
That's
those
right.
guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I did that for
Yeah.
a while,
Yeah.
and but again, just out of love of the music.
100%.
And I was definitely naive. There was
Yeah.
a lot going on at the
But
Gaslight
you
Club.
learn.
I learned, and I ended up meeting my husband there, my ex-husband. But we met there. Ken and I met at the Gaslight Club, and I wasn't supposed to date a client, but I did. But we, before you know it, I was married and living in the suburbs.
Yeah.
And but again, I never could stop my love of singing and music. It's like oxygen when you really love music. You can't really live without it.
I agree.
I did a little community theater, but that's takes you out of your home a lot. So I ended up being a church singer, and that's how I started singing at Mary Seat of Wisdom when I was newly married at 22, 23 years old, and I ended up doing and then eventually at St. Paul, and I was.
How'd you get from Mary's Seat to St.
Well,
Paul?
we had 2 kids while we lived in the south side of Park Ridge.
Okay.
And then actually 3 kids, and then I got pregnant with the 4th, and we decided we needed a bigger house.
Got it.
So we moved to the north side of town.
Yeah.
And by then I'd done a little homeschooling with
I love
Nicholas.
that house. It was a corner house.
It was a
house.
beautiful
Great
house.
basement.
It was a great house to raise kids in. I was very fortunate. It was a beautiful home, and we lived there for 25
And I was always
years.
respectful, even when I was a little guy. So there you go.
You were always respectful. Well, of course, you don't know half the stuff your kids are doing at the time. I was like, what were you guys doing? Yeah. Social media blew it for that.
Yeah, see,
For the first time
we
I
had
saw-
it good. We were the last.
You were the last
Yeah,
generation. You guys
yeah.
could get away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
there was no
yeah,
recording of it.
Yeah, now forget it.
It's
These
going to
poor
be on
kids.
all over the place.
Yeah.
But then I sang in the church for 30 some years, and that was more that became a ministry really for me. I saw the power of God's word through music, and the impact you could have on people. It sounds kind of morbid, but I became I did a lot of funerals. One week I did 7 funerals one week. And I listened to all those eulogies, and you get a different perspective on how short life is, and what people remember you for. Frankie, it's not your money, it's not your job, it is how you made them feel. Or it's food. People always talked about food.
They really
She
do.
was the best cook. She made the best.
And music again.
And music again.
Yeah.
And I always looked at my job because sometimes maybe there are people in the church that don't go to church, that they're there only because it's a funeral or a wedding, and it was kind of an opportunity to let them hear what God had to say
Yeah.
at a particular moment about this event. And I mean, Scripture is so beautiful, and the Catholic Church. I mean, I was a Catholic for many many years, and the liturgy of the music is very powerful and beautiful. It was a blessing. I really felt that when I stopped singing after 35 years in the church, I was like, Lord, you know, if I never sing again, Lord, you have blessed me beyond belief. And but here, I never know what God has up his sleeve.
See, it's funny. No, and it's true. And you are. I mean, I could remember you running around with the girls. You know, I remember Nick being a little older, and cool. You know, and just like, you know, just certain things in
Do you remember that he had a rock band? Did you remember that?
I was going to say, it was like a garage band,
Yeah,
right? It was like
yeah. And Allie was the bass player.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Allie played the bass.
That. That's awesome.
And they used to do this Smashing Pumpkins, and
oh wow,
that was a lot of fun back in the day.
Yeah.
And then Frankie, yes, and I did sing at your beautiful mama's funeral. I remember standing up in the loft, and then we sang "The Wind Beneath My Wings."
Yeah,
and,
and honestly, I for probably the first year you were with me, I you always said you could whenever you're ready, you know, and I just wasn't ready for that yet, you know, because I think that, you know, this is your interview, but it's kind of a shared story on some of it, you know, because
well, I knew your mama, and I mean, I know she was at my house. We did committee work together, you know. Yeah, she was a very sweet spirit.
Yeah,
very sweet lady.
No, thank you for saying that, and thank you for leaving that on the table, and thank you for singing it when you did. You know, just you know, like everything else, you got to be, the timing's everything.
It was always an honor to sing for people's funerals. I often people would write me thank you cards afterward, and I have a shoebox of those saved. And I thought, you know, someday that'll be another it'll be another blessing.
Yeah.
That if I was able to just let them hear God's word at a certain time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and I you know, and I think in our hardest times, you know, grief. There's no really wrong way to grieve, but a voice can soothe you, you know. So for me personally, you know, as a 15-year-old, I'm sitting in that church, and, you know, at that time, I was told you can't give the eulogy, you wouldn't be able to handle it, right? I've seen doctors and lawyers, and I said, you know, at the time, I said, Father Carl, you don't know me at that level. I said, I'm okay with him and doing it, and I'm not going to crack up there. It's not about that. This is actually about my mom, you know. So I went up there and I did it, you know.
Yeah.
And I was pretty defeated after that. I had nothing left. And then you sang, you know, and that stayed with me my whole life. It's never leaving. So, like, you know, even at the shows, sometimes you'll see me go live, because I have to go live. And it's just because I want to share, you know, whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, I want to share the voice of the angel that moves my heart, that gives me rest, right? So, like, you know, and I know I give you say, you know, one day you could do 7, you know, but for that one, it matters. And you act, and like every show, it doesn't matter if we're singing to one person or if I bring you for the national anthem in front of 1,000 people, right? You are the same person, and that's what makes you special. And we're gonna because I'm gonna break that down into philosophy. But thank you.
It's music. Music is a gift of God. I mean, I love that music is part of Scripture. I mean, David wrote music. God loves music. I think in heaven there's just constant singing.
Well, and if God hung on there with David, you guys got to say, he's got to give me a little bit of a chance, right? Like, I mean, they ruled me out too fast.
Thank you, Lord
I was
Jesus.
just saying, guys, give me a minute, man. All right, anyway. All right, we're never going to get through them. This is what happened, you know? But as a mother, what have your children taught you about love, strength, patience, and the kind of legacy we leave behind?
Right. I loved being a mama. I had a lot of fun with my kids. I always encouraged their individuality, their creative, their silliness. We had a lot of laughs, you know. But I also was a mama that was like, when the BS got too much, that's it.
So we need that, though.
Yeah. My philosophy on raising kids is you don't want the path so narrow that all they ever do is fall off. But you don't want the path so wide that they can't get anywhere. You got to keep the path just enough, boundaries just enough. Encourage them to be who God made them. And but for their own sake, you got to give them structure and discipline.
Yeah.
You know, because
no, I think
that generation, especially like, and you guys are going to hear it, and I'm being honest with you. I don't think my son's generation's lazy at all, and I think COVID stripped a lot of those kids from their childhood. And what I see now is, I see a lot of these kids get in trouble for like the dirt bikes or something in a park, and I cringe, but because like I get it, and we want our kids safe, and there's a lot of bad drivers, but at the same time, it makes me happy. I heard the story that there was like a 19-year-old trying to buy beer from the 7-Eleven.
Okay.
And the guy wouldn't buy it for him, and he's like, and the kids called him gay. And I said, you know what? I'm glad to hear that. Like, first off, I'm glad you didn't buy him the beer, and second off, I'm glad they didn't do anything crazy. They called you gay and they walked away.
Right.
Let that be
right.
the worst thing that happens.
Yeah. Right.
And,
Kids will be kids.
Kids are going to be kids.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, it's interesting, and.
But I mean, my kids, they're strong, they're smart, they're independent, they've done well in life.
I mean, this could be a time for a plug. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. Then, speaking of Powerhouse Fitness Studio in Park Ridge is my beautiful youngest daughter, Veronica, and she. You want to get your ass kicked by a great workout coach? She's the gal. I should follow my own words sometimes, but no.
Well, even if you just follow her on social media too, because I mean, you walk around Park Ridge, you'll see her on the wall. I walked in, I'm just getting a protein smoothie, and I'm like, "That's a Marchetti." I said, "That's awesome."
She's a pretty girl.
Yeah, no, and it's good.
It's
a beautiful thing to see them.
She's a very
grow up, and
they're smart. They're smart. I got smart. That my kids. I'm like, the song. What do we say in It's a Wonderful Life? They'll know much more than me. And I see, they're smart kids. We know different.
But I'm telling you that he's got me beat at 13, and that's all I wanted, right?
Yeah.
She's
want
got
them
me
to
beat
be
at
better.
8.
You want them to be
just
better.
Keep going now.
Yep.
Stay humble and keep going,
Yeah.
And then I try to learn from you guys, the older generation, about, because what's coming next, like I got different phases coming and all that. And
it's not easy.
Well, life will humble you.
Well, and I used to joke, I said, and then these kids have the nerve to get a mind of their own.
Well, and that's why I said, hey, be careful. I said, because they start to get confident in that, but then I was the same way, and then.
Of course we were.
And I was like, oh, that's what my dad was talking about.
Yes.
Now I understand,
Yes. I didn't listen all the time either, and that's okay. You pray. My mom used to say, you basically raise your kids on your knees. You pray. You pray them through, and you hope that they remember eventually,
I think they come back.
The values you taught.
I think if you did it the right way, I pray that they do, right?
Yeah.
That the roots are strong enough that no matter what the storms of life bring, the branches are going to hold.
Yes, and the roots.
The roots got to be strong,
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep going here
Keep
now.
going.
All right.
Can you see?
When you sing now, it's starting to
Yes.
get a little dark here, but I know I got better than 20/20 vision, so I don't know how that happened. When you sing now, are you trying to entertain people, comfort them, tell the truth, or maybe a little bit of all of it?
Well, probably a little bit of all of it. I mean, our job is tough. Sometimes it's tough in these gigs. I mean, you love the music so much that my first commitment sometimes is to the music. Like, I want to sing this song.
This is the interesting topic, right?
Yes.
This is the philosophical, I think, in our industry, the philosophical differences amongst, like, hey, what offense are you running,
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you talk about it, but I think I know where you're going, so
yeah,
I'm intrigued.
I want to pay homage to this beautiful written song and the lyric and the vocals. And that's why after a while, you don't just pick pretty songs. You do start to realize you want to pick more entertaining songs as well.
Yeah.
Because people are there to have a good time. So I do like when I get to do something, maybe the fun, sassy stuff, a little Peggy Lee or a Dinah Washington.
It's actually awesome, though. Yeah,
because
that's fun.
you want it to be fun, and then
Well,
Judy
Velagio's ever
Garland.
dancing, or even Judy.
Yes, because they're theatrical pieces in a way.
Come on, get happy.
Yeah. So you get, if you suddenly find out you've been deceived.
It's such a better version than later versions anyway.
Yes.
It really is.
So it's kind of you have an obligation to entertain because that's what they're paying you for.
Yeah.
But you also have an obligation to honor the music, the genre. I love, Frankie and I are both guilty of it. We love educating people, just like this is from 1912.
It's like TED Talks, I feel like, but it's good. It's actually really
Well,
good.
because there's
And they
there's
love
an
it, actually.
I think
Yeah,
we
they
have this
appreciate it.
we have this
We
appreciation
do, but
that we
they
want to
seem-
share
yeah,
with them.
Yeah, but I feel like even like the college kids, like when I've done a couple of shows, they were more intrigued than the people that knew the music.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And some of it was because of the heritage side of it. But either way, I was like, this is exactly what it's about. This is why I started this.
And
you
I
know?
think I've come to appreciate not everybody is as passionate about music as
no,
we are.
no.
I mean, I
think
can't.
that's, and it makes me sad.
It does, but it's
But
just
it's truth.
God made us all
It's the
different.
truth, yeah.
Because like I can't listen to music without moving. I'm always tapping my foot or I'm singing along. But there are some people you could sing to. It's like they're just not even aware that there's this.
Well,
they're
even in Jewel, right? Like I'm shopping, singing along.
Singing
to-
along.
I don't know.
That's how we are. That's
Okay,
how we're
all right,
wired.
yeah.
But there are people that. But what's really fun is when you do have some old couple come up and say, "That I remember that song, Joe Stafford. That was her big hit, or whatever." And you're like, "Oh, God bless." Somebody is appreciating it with me, and so you don't want to be completely self-absorbed as a singer. Like I only want to sing stuff I love, but I love so much of it. But there's so much music I love.
There is.
That's me. I'm always doing new stuff.
You are. Well, and that's but
I can't help.
but even when I think some of the most fun we've had, because I try to set my shows up. So unless you're giving me a C note to change my set list, I don't know. But no, I know I'm joking. But
I like it, though.
yeah. But the truth is, I want to tell a story, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
some of the best stuff
Take
is
'em on a
when
journey.
yeah, and when I'm telling that story, and then you go rogue because you feel a story, and you're like, oh, I got to sing this one right now, and that's when I go live, because it's like this just fits perfectly into what we're doing. So there is. I feel like that's why I love. I always say like Dean Martin. There's a lot of country blues in
Yeah.
him, and I think that kind of music it hits the heart, and what you do for me, it's just.
You're always so good to me.
No,
Thank you.
no,
You're so
no.
sweet.
You're good.
Thank
I mean,
you.
honestly, I think it's for the
It's just
people
a
that love
blessing.
music. It's a way for people to find peace in a world that's sometimes
Yes.
a little. And the other thing is maybe you talked about people going to a funeral or wake. Well, a lot of people don't go to church.
Yep.
So
Yep.
something we said is if you're going to fire me from a restaurant for talking about what I believe in, well, I don't want to be there in the first place. So I'm good with that,
Yes, yeah.
And so Jesus has been a part, God's been a part of our journey, and we've changed some of these songs and had fun with it, and
Yep.
and maybe you have a glass of wine with somebody that wouldn't be at church on Sunday, and maybe
Yeah.
you could share a.
Well, you always
an
say we want to
invite or
bring a little
story,
light,
you know?
a little love, and I think the songs we sing, the lyrics are so beautiful and romantic, and they're full of love, and
They break
they're
down walls. They
Yeah,
break down
and they're
barriers,
uplifting.
Yeah.
There's joy in this music. It's like
And a real sadness too. Like
it can
there-
be. We can have those heartbreak songs.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's where that. And I don't mean to cut you off, but see, here we
No.
go. There's joy in that too, because without those, how are you going to feel that joy?
That's right. Nothing makes you feel better than singing the blues.
Oh. It's well. See, now we're going to get to culture, family, food, and the
Oh, yeah.
world. Yeah, we're going to get into it a little
All
bit.
right, all right.
Because you were not born Italian, okay? But you
No.
married into a big Italian Chicago world.
Yep.
And what do you remember? You kind of talked about it, stepping into the culture. What parts felt familiar from where you came from, and what felt a little different?
Well, I mean,
Did food matter that much beforehand?
no, of course
So that-
not. There
okay,
you go. Well,
okay.
we ate. Kevin and I have talked about this. It's like food has changed, and the more ethnic food. We didn't grow up with that. Well, like you went to the grocery store when I was a kid. You had apples, oranges, bananas, and maybe potatoes. I mean, we didn't have this abundanza of
Where
food.
there really is now.
Yeah, where they're now. Oh my
Now
God, it's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Ken he was half Italian. His dad was very Italian, and so his nonna, we would go by her house, and she taught me to make the sauce. I had to learn to make the gravy or the sauce or whatever you call it.
Don't start that.
It was
fight.
Northern Italian, so it was with the chicken livers and the ground chuck and the
See, and I was
vegetables.
right. I'm from the little.
You got
wall
the
that
I know the
everybody
way at the
kicks.
bottom.
Yeah, I think it's called Sicily. Shh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But
Yeah.
that was big.
Well, there's a big thing between Northern Italian cooking.
Yep, big
and
difference.
Southern Italian
yes,
cooking.
very different.
So it's true, though.
So I would make the big batches of sauce, and luckily my kids liked it. Yeah, being in a big Italian family, most of my girlfriends are Italian. I mean, there's a lot of Italians in Park Ridge, and I always admired the Italian culture. I think I come from a broken home, and then we were German, and I mean that's not much fun. But we were good at getting things done, but we could drink a lot of beer. But the Italian culture is definitely a fun culture. It's very easy to embrace, and yeah, I mean, my kids are Italian. I love it.
Yeah, well, and in any culture. But now, when I talk about you, what's one meal,
Yeah.
one smell, that like one kitchen memory that brings you back? You know, brings you back to something that was just special. Like, you know, what's that smell? Because I feel like
Man.
scent really, scent like
scent.
it's you know, eyes kind of have to go through a process. All these other things.
No, they
go through-
say it's the
scent's just
quickest
direct to
form
the
of
brain.
recall.
Yeah, it really
Well,
is.
I mean, you smell garlic. We got garlic cooking in the kitchen now.
Yeah.
I mean, good garlic. You know, that's a tough question. I mean, just food in general, but we did do a lot of Italian.
So
cooking.
it was
the
yeah,
Italian
it's that garlic
cooking.
smell for me too.
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
first initially start to
Garlic in the oil, and you
that's
know,
that-
the cooking,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and
it's just like warming up.
and
you know,
I
you're
really
just
use
like,
a lot of garlic when I cook.
yeah.
I like the garlic.
Got to keep the vampires away.
That's right.
Yeah, nothing
But
wrong
yeah,
with that.
food is so fun. I love great food. I love to cook great food. My dad, I used to make him the German poppy seed coffee cake at Christmas. You know, we would oxtail soup. So I had some German cooking that I would do, but you can't beat Italian
No,
food.
no.
It's just, let's face it.
All right, so you have said there are certain parts of your father that I remind you of. Knowing that, you know, I hold a relationship with Jesus real close, and knowing your father, you know, what was a little bit of, you know, like you said, carry life differently than me.
Yes, he did.
What does that stir in you, though, like about faith? Because I often find myself sitting here interested in the synchronicities and links of life and cycles of life, and how God has, you know, uses other people to help in there. Like, you know, I don't always know why I'm in someone's life, or you don't know why you're in mine.
Sure.
But it's funny how we still are, right? So I guess I'm getting.
Well, my relationship, my faith journey has been very convoluted. I wasn't always a follower of Jesus.
Yeah.
Certainly, my father was an atheist. He just thought it broke his heart. My father was a big softy, and I think he saw that religion. There was a lot of religious wars and fighting, and you know, the Middle East, and he just kind of felt that religion did more harm than good. He couldn't find the good in it, and he was a good man. He would help anybody. You know, there's a lot of good people who aren't necessarily religious, but I unfortunately my faith came later, and I don't think I was able to impart enough. I would often say, "Pops, you know, that's out of the Bible. You're talking about
Yeah.
stuff in the Bible."
Yeah.
But I mean, Frankie, I wandered for a long time. I'm going to tell you. I mean, even though my mama was a Catholic, when I went to college, I kind of was Catholic. But then I tried Buddhism. I even tried a little Scientology. I mean, I was
Tom
definitely
Cruise
a
is
seeker.
pretty cool.
Well, I was
still, I don't
always
know.
looking for answers to questions, and
Never.
I'm a seeker. So I would say, well, I had a chiropractor who was a Scientologist, and he kind of turned me on to some interesting
And I thought that's
stuff.
what the link was, right?
Yes.
Because I feel like you and me, like we always have these deep conversations,
Yes.
and I think the seeking side of it is
You're
maybe
just trying to figure out why life is the way it is, or how you can solve problems.
Yeah.
And my marriage was a troubled marriage at times, so I was always looking for solutions. And he said, "Oh, take this class, how to repair your marriage." And then, you know, all of a sudden I'm like in the Scientology program, and I'm like, wait a second. But
Yeah,
that got
yeah,
weird.
yeah.
That got weird
Real
real quick.
fast. Yeah,
Real quick.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, I didn't
But I mean,
come.
it doesn't. You got to be open to that at least, and then once you know
You're
it's not for
looking.
you, then
And
you know.
I mean, and no, not to in any way disparage the Catholic Church, but you went to church and that was it. It didn't always carry over from Sunday to
But
Sunday.
see, and that's
much.
where I was blessed because I was really still instilled with Catholic stuff at home.
That's
my
beautiful.
my grandmother on my mom's side, and so like I see that's where that tradition side comes for me with the Catholic Church too, because like it's in my DNA, you know. So like when I talk about the Jewish faith and how beautiful it can be, I think that there's the tradition side of it.
Yeah.
So much so, right? And I think now when we talk about breaking bread on Sundays and what we're about to do,
Yeah.
it's such like that Catholic Italian heritage tradition,
Yep,
and
yep,
it's beautiful,
yep.
and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that you know, as we grow up, we get like these. We don't have to separate anything, you know, because like I mean, I know a lot of great people. I know a lot of people that call themselves Catholic that don't have a relationship with Jesus,
Right,
you know. So
right.
we all know that.
No,
but-
so it was and then my dad being he was more into physics, and my dad
He was like, yeah.
he was a
seems like
conspiracy
cool-
theory guy.
We're not
before
going to
the-
get into it, but
before-
see, that's, yeah.
But before the internet, my dad always was also a seeker.
Yeah.
But he sought it.
A seeker of truth.
A seeker of truth. So
Yeah.
he was always a
Yeah.
skeptic in the medical world,
Yeah.
and he was getting underground newspapers
Well, and that's
back
what
in the
caught us with
60s
COVID.
and 70s.
You smelled
and,
it. You know, you smelled
Yep.
it.
But
you
it
know.
wasn't until I started to take Bible study classes in my 40s that I started to realize my faith was very immature. I was going to church and I was singing these beautiful words, and I was up there, imparting that what I felt, the Holy Spirit, but I didn't have that relationship with Christ.
So when did you get that person? When did Jesus become personal to you?
Well,
Not just
I got it.
something taught.
Yeah.
Because that happened to me. It's a very different thing.
It's a very different thing. Frankie, it was quite late in life. Even though I was a very faith-filled person and I knew God and I knew the Holy Spirit, I can't say I really felt like I had a personal relationship with Jesus till right around the time The Chosen. And I'm going to say I was an original investor. When I saw the pilot, something in me sparked. And I was also going through a lot of, relationship stuff in my life and raising the kids and trying to figure out who I was as a now divorced woman. And
I think for like a lot of us, and
it's the
we gotta
right
get,
time.
We
and-
got to get like stripped down to like where I cannot carry this on my own, right?
I don't have the answers
anymore, right?
Nope.
And once that happens,
Yep.
then and I'm speaking for myself because I'm not telling, but like I feel like once that happens, then you realize that some of those hardships that have come your way might have just been there to help you get home all the time,
Yeah,
right?
to bring you to that come to
Yeah,
Jesus
and
moment.
the hard-headed you are, the more lessons you have to go through sometimes. And
Yes, and
I
COVID.
think the kids call that karma, but it's not. Anyway.
Well, and it was after
We kids, whatever.
after my divorce. I felt I didn't feel I was really down about that. My mom was twice divorced. I was never really wanted to be divorced, but I ended up divorced, and I went through a period of kind of shame, and I kind of left the Catholic Church because I couldn't sing in front of anybody. I felt like a fraud.
Yeah.
And so I kind of started to go to Harvest Bible Chapel, and so that became kind of my new food. I was kind of going to both churches
Yeah,
and doing
yeah,
it everything,
yeah.
and getting to know the Bible more. And I started to do Bible study and joined a small group, and then got into The Chosen, which
If you haven't seen it, Catholic, whatever, not Catholic, go watch that. If you're not
yeah,
even a
it's an
believer in
app you
Jesus,
can
yeah.
download, and it just personifies Christ in a such a human way that you all of a sudden start to see his reality differently, and his mission, and why God sent him here to earth, and who he might have been. I mean, again, it's fictionalized, but to me, it just kind of gave me a new consideration. And it wasn't until maybe 5 years ago that I actually was I was baptized as a young girl. My dad would not let my mom baptize us as babies. So after my folks divorced, I was baptized. My sister and I were baptized together, as a 4-year-old. But I actually went through an adult baptism just to I was ready to. I have decided to follow Jesus, no
Make
turning
that public,
back. Make that public declaration.
Yeah.
And even to myself, I wear this little ring, cross ring on my finger. It's just a reminder of my commitment to the best of my ability, serve and follow the Lord. Of course, I don't do it anywhere near perfectly, but
Well, if I ever, I put you up in sainthood for me. We are, I do believe in the communion of saints, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And I do think that the reminders are so
Yes.
special. Just to, I don't know, and everything you just said so beautiful, and that relationship is so important. And I think one last thing about The Chosen is, our generations, we grew up on the television. So
yeah.
it's hard for a lot of people, and they do fictionalize a little, but I'm in the Bible, Carol's in the Bible,
Yeah.
but a lot of people aren't, and you guys are Netflix, and you're watching all the shows on streaming, and it's worth, because you're going to get hooked, and you're going to get hooked because you watch TV, and then you're going to learn about a man. And in 2,000 years, the reason I and I fall short every day, but nobody's improved on that lesson, and nobody ever will. So I think it's beautiful, and yeah, thank you for sharing your faith journey, because it's so personal. And
now I go to City Line, and I'm a great church here in Niles.
So
a very
Benjamin, a lot of people, and this
I
is the
saw
back
Big
and forth.
Ben
They
today
say
singing.
they're always inviting me, and I'm always inviting them to Catholic church. So it's back and forth. And honestly,
like,
it's not,
go to all of them.
and it's nothing but love. It's nothing but love across the board. So
because Jesus he's everywhere.
well, when you look at your life now, do you feel like grace means something different than it did when you were younger?
Oh, I'm much more aware of it. When you're young, you're just running. You know, you're going on it. You're just trying to get through another day and busy. And only in your sad times, sometimes you would, pray and cry out to Lord. But now I try to give myself grace, because I can be hard on myself. I feel a grave responsibility to be a Christ follower. I don't want to. I try not to be a hypocrite. I fail all the time, but you just want. You just keep praying. You just keep.
That's
praying.
all we can do.
Keep praying for your family, your kids, your grandkids, this world.
Have faith.
Yeah, have
Keep
faith
spreading your
and
light, too.
hope,
Yeah.
and keep spreading the light. And don't let it all get you down. Turn off the TV.
That's why you're in my
Turn
life.
off the snooze.
That's why you're in my. I threw my TV out a year ago.
Yeah, you don't need it. You know what? It's so we don't know what the truth is. When you listen, it's all God knows what the truth is out there. But if you know Christ, you know the truth in your heart, and that's the only truth that matters.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, here
and
we
music
go.
is honest.
What was your first car?
Oh gosh. Oh, funny story. Pontiac Sunbird
Ooh.
that my dad bought me.
What color?
As an incentive to take a break from the Goodman and get me an apartment. I lived in Wrigleyville. It was a dark blue or black, and one day
Midnight blue?
midnight
We'll go with
blue.
that. All right.
One day, after I'd had the car a few months, there was a knock on my door, and it was two policemen, and my dad had inadvertently bought a hot car. And they confiscated it right on the spot. That was
Can I at least get my stuff out of the
I was
car?
like,
Oh.
"You're just gonna take it?" That was my poor dad. He was so embarrassed. He felt terrible. So then he gave me his little wife's old clunker. So now I was definitely
Getting
not,
her out?
It was not
Oh,
cool.
no.
It was an
Oh.
ugly light blue Dodge.
Okay.
But yeah, that was my crazy.
Yeah, that was your first car.
Stood on the curb and watched him tow it away.
Oh, man.
Oh man, this really sucks.
Well, now I gotta be selfish a little bit, and I have probably talked a little too much during this interview, but I just you knew me before I was an adult here at 40 years old. So, I mean, we kind of talked about it. But what do you remember most about me in grade school?
I remember. Well, you helped me remember. Because I used to work with the grammar school at St. Paul, I used to help direct the plays.
Yes, you did.
And work with the music department there. I always loved to volunteer. I was very blessed to be a stay-at-home mom, so I had a lot of time to volunteer for things. And, I remember, you were all squirrely back then because I was probably about your age and, with all these kids. And you always had your smile. Always had your smile, Frankie,
thanks.
and your good energy, your upbeat energy, and quirky
Always.
energy.
And I finally leaned into it.
Yeah,
though,
yeah, and that's probably why you and Amanda won the dance contest. You got them little steppies.
Well, my dad was a really good boxer, and so I was more nervous around the girls. So he said, Frankie, just go into boxing when you hear the dancing, because it's just rhythm with your feet. So everything he learned, so it worked. I never danced in my life, but I just said, all right, Dad. So now I went into the ring, So now I'm on the ring, but she's a beautiful girl, but I'm not going to use my hands. We're just using the feet, And
But you guys
we
must
won.
have really cut it up.
We won 3 times. I think there were 3 dances, and it was unbelievable. But
I
that was
love
fun.
it. I
Fun
love
stories.
it. Well, I tried to raise my kids to be free spirits. You got to live life, enjoy it, use your energy. But I remember when we cast for Joseph, and you reminded me I didn't choose you to be Joseph. I felt bad about that.
That wasn't you. That was Mr. Longo.
Mr. Long. And
Or
then
Long
little
or
Tony's.
Longo? Long?
Well, he was Mr. Long. I don't know what
Yeah,
you
Mr.
guys
Long.
called him.
Well, I
but-
don't know. Yeah. Well, and here we go. So I got to steal you. That killed my dream, right? I never sang again, but in the shower, like little stuff, right? But there were some girls that got real shy at the stage from me, all right? And one girl wanted to come up, one girl was kind of shy. And the girl that was really shy had an absolutely amazing voice, and she came up and did your song. She did The Little Mermaid.
Oh, yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
And, at the end of it, I whispered in her ear, don't let anyone tell you you can't do this, because you already did.
Yeah.
And when I said to her, you already did, she looked at me like, yeah, because you just got on stage and sang in front of like 100 people, and you killed it, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but that one hurt, you know?
It does.
He brought me in, he's like, some people, you got to go in the other routes. I'm like, well, I could swing a bat pretty good. I could throw a ball. I said,
I'm a good
going to
boxer.
that. Yeah, why? I didn't want to get hit in the face too much, you know?
But
my
it's funny,
nose,
Frankie, I'll share that. I mean, because I was more of a classical singer. And it was hard for me to sing outside of church because I was using my voice so different.
It's a different, yeah.
It's a different. And when I would try to, I did a little cabaret, and I know, my ex told me, you should stick with the Ave Maria. And so me to come back singing this kind of music now, it's kind of like okay, I think I can do it, kind of, because I was always convinced I could only sing one kind of music.
Yeah.
So to be able to sing other stuff, and I don't know, I can't sing all of the stuff.
Well, not.
But
yeah, but
to
you're
but
absolutely.
to have fun with it.
Special.
But be careful the words you say to people because they can carry weight. And
and I've made that mistake
especially
myself
to young
they
people.
they do. They
Yeah,
matter.
they matter.
And I think this world's kind of built to kind of build those barriers around people's dreams a little bit, and that sucks. So they need people to say, you know what, go chase that a little bit, and
yeah, don't care what they say. You know what? If you believe
if
in
it makes you a little nervous to go do it, and you enjoy it and it's in your heart, maybe you should go do that a little more.
Give it a shot.
And your friends are gonna rip on you for it. Well, they're not gonna be your real friends, but there's gonna be people that say things to you.
Yep.
I mean, I was tap dancing in I don't know, was that sixth grade? I was give my regards to Broadway, but at the same time, I'm playing baseball, football, basketball. Do you know the heat I was taking from the other end? But it was the '90s,
Right.
But
right.
I loved entertainment. I loved theater.
Is that when we did that little variety show?
Oh my
where
gosh!
You were tap dancing?
My first wife, she's like, you guys were putting makeup on us. I'm like, she's got to put makeup on. Another opening to another show.
Yes.
Another opening. They gave me a cane and everything, guys.
Oh, it was great. It was a lot of fun. We did good shows. Our shows were really good.
See, now we should bring the old shows back. I don't even know if these kids still do that, do they? Because my son never got. I don't think they really do.
No,
they
we
do
did
the Christmas
Guys and
shows.
Dolls. We did the Sound of
Christmas
Music.
shows.
We did Joseph. We did a lot of cool little plays. So those were fun times. So yeah, he was always Frankie.
Oh, thank you. Well, see, and that was the next question, but you already answered it. So, and you kind of said this, but I'm gonna ask anyway, because you were part of my life during a very painful chapter, when my mom passed, and we discussed a little bit, but I don't know. I guess, what do you remember about her other than that at that time? You talked a little bit, but she volunteered. What were those things we did where we would win the stuff and win the tickets? You and her
the
were
fun
always
fairs.
Fun fairs.
Yeah.
Those were so much fun.
Yep.
Now my dad might have rigged it a few times so that I got a couple extra things, but I don't know.
Oh, we had a lot
that
of
was
fun.
so much fun.
Yep.
And my son did one after, but it wasn't the same.
We used to kind of do them with Halloween, didn't we? We were always in costumes.
That's what I meant. And I think I got in trouble because I brought a little, I was a cowboy.
Oh, and we're packing some heat.
I think I was.
Well,
even though it had the orange tip. I don't think it mattered.
I remember your mom. I mean, beautiful lady. I do feel like she was at my house. I ran a big fashion show. Like I said, I was the
She was a
volunteer
firecracker
queen.
too, though.
Yeah, but she was over helping decorate.
Yeah, she was all about that.
And doing stuff. And we had a lot of fun with glue guns and flowers. And I know there was a little melancholy in your mom. I would say I can have that same spirit sometimes. I think it's a sensitive soul. You kind of have to fight against it, but yeah, because sometimes life, if you are a thoughtful person, life is heartbreaking sometimes, and so I understood that about her spirit a little bit too.
I think something that I've come because I share a lot of not just the DNA in my blood, but that soul and those things, the things I was raised on.
Mm-hmm.
You have a passion and a heart like I do for people. And when that can get hurt at such a level that, I don't think she felt like she had anyone left, And I think that's where my faith comes in so heavy, right? And our faith is, at this point, man may break us down, but there's someone there for me always, you
Yeah,
know, and,
yeah,
and if I'm,
yeah.
it matters, you know, and then I think that for me, the kids so much too, you know, like I see them in that, and it's just, I don't know, the whole thing is,
You know,
it's,
before I found Jesus, I mean, I spent a lot of money on therapists, and I tell you, you don't get anywhere with therapy.
well,
I mean,
and
it can help
I
you.
don't want to be rude with that,
No.
because there's a time and a place
Well,
for people
there-
that maybe need to get over an addiction,
And
right?
sometimes
Or,
you just need to get stuff
off your chest, right? I did an 8-week set. I need 8 weeks. Before I did this, I'm like, I need to get everything off my chest. I hired her for 8 weeks. I'm going to get through it. Hey, I'm talking. This is an hour, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's what I needed
Yeah,
to do before.
yep.
Knowing that I'm not doing, this was just for me to vent stuff out before.
100%.
You know, and I think that's important, but on the fact where they're, and I'm going to say this, and if it is what it is, but when you're getting a medical, we'll say it's like a corporation.
Yeah.
It's literally it's its own.
It's big business.
Yeah, it's big business. It really is. And Connie's saying the show's starting, guys. Hold on. Aldi La. Unless Carol, you're gonna sing it. All right, hold on.
One day.
No, you. What do you mean one day? You
I
already
did it
sang
once.
it. Yeah, yeah. And now we'll pause. There we go. All right, but no. Yeah. See, no, it's been a joy, and I kind of lost my train of thought.
That's
'cause
all right.
of
We
Aldi
were
La.
talking just a little therapy and faith, and I mean, really, the ultimate therapist is.
Well, yeah,
is
and
Jesus.
then again, the medical field, when someone tells you, you know, take this shot or do this or do that, but you know, there's money behind it, you have to question that,
Yeah.
right? Because there are motives, and so
Yeah, you
I
got to
think
be a
that's
little
in-
cynical. My dad always told us you got to be a little, always ask questions and follow the money. You
and
know,
I always say that, follow the money.
my dad would say, yeah, that whoever has the least to profit is who the person you should trust.
All right, so from parties in your basement to me picking up your daughter for a high school dance to the phone call where we finally said maybe we should sing
Oh my
together.
gosh.
Did you ever imagine our stories would come full circle?
No,
like
of
this?
course not. Who could imagine it?
Yeah.
Who could imagine? I remember seeing you when you first started singing on Facebook, and you know it was kind of fun. You were like just doing the selfie kind of singing,
Yeah.
and I was like, God bless him. You know he's got more courage than I do. You know,
Yeah.
I just got a kick out of it, and then through a series of events, you know, it was like, well, what? Mrs. Marchetti.
Well, and
remember Mrs. Marchetti, you would say.
It was a joy because, like, I luckily I had some, I had a lot of people saying I couldn't do it, but then I had a few real pretty people tell me that, wait, why are you lip singing? I'm like, well, I'm not lip syncing. I know I'm not that good, but I never took one voice lesson in my life, and I said, it's just something that I'm passionate about and I love, and I see people smile. I said, I mean, if I read that if you do anything for like 19 minutes a day,
Okay.
19 minutes a day,
Okay.
and you do it every year, you're going to be in the top 10% of that thing after only 1 year of doing it in the whole world, right? Because there's, 8 billion people in the world, right?
It's amazing.
So I'm like, well, I do.
That's a great stat.
That's a great stat, and so I said, well, it's, I'm just going to keep trying, right? We're going to keep going. And so I made, my son. I said, I got to drop like $1,000 for equipment, Frankie, and I just don't know if it's worth it, because if I do this and I suck and whatever, and I said, well, I know I suck, but I think there's more to it than I suck. Like Joe
There's
Bad
way
would
more
say.
to it than singing. There's you got a lot of other
and I would come to know that I don't, and it was a humbling experience, and it's been a blessing, and you've helped me so much too, and it's been a joy. But
It's been my pleasure. It's been a privilege.
Some people pass through life, and some people stay in the story. Why do you
We
think,
have a lot of fun.
Yeah, why do you think certain people remain?
Well, effort. There is an effort required. There's a connection with
Yeah.
certain people that just. I have some girlfriends. We don't talk often, but when we talk, it's like we're sisters
You
again.
picked up right where you left off.
And common values, I think, bring that together. Shared experiences. Faith is a big, connector. You do drift apart. There are so many seasons and chapters in life. When you're raising your kids, you're tight with a certain bunch, and then all of a sudden everybody's off and married and grandparents,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you see them at weddings and funerals, and it's kind of like, wow, we were so tight. And you do get less friends as you get older, I think, because you don't have the energy.
You get more of like the real.
The
that's
real
authentic.
friends. You have a
Yeah.
few really
Maybe
good
on one hand.
friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on one hand.
And then you're with your grandkids, and
And the kids too. Well, for me,
And
I
the
haven't gotten there
kids.
yet.
No,
but,
no
yeah,
grandkids yet.
God willing, I hope.
I hope so too.
Yeah,
I hope your
yeah.
kids have
So-
beautiful, full lives. Something so many kids seem to not be interested in, but no, marriage and family and raising kids. I mean, that's what my dad told me. He says, I know you like to sing, I know this. He said, but honey, really, what life is all about is marriage and family.
It matters.
And it was what
Yeah.
it was all. And I
Yeah.
had great experiences still. I mean, I'll just say, because I got to put it, I did get to sing that national anthem at the Chicago Bears game, which was like a highlight for a
I mean,
singer.
that's pretty, yeah.
And that was through Notre Dame and the McCaskey family. Father Molinaro over there always liked my singing.
What a guy.
What a
actually.
great guy. So
Yeah.
he would invite me to sing the Ave Maria, and then McCaskey
God rest
said,
him now, too.
yeah, he just passed.
Yeah.
And
Unbelievable.
and then he had me singing at the Chicago Bears game. That was a rush. That was
Yeah.
no accompaniment. The sound system, you got the huge echo.
Oh, I couldn't
It
imagine.
was a trip, Frankie.
Yeah.
And the scariest part of the whole thing is, they say, and now from Park Ridge, Illinois, here to sing the national anthem, Carol Marchetti. And you're walking out into the middle of the field, surrounded by this, and they hand you the mic, and everybody's quiet, and you're like, holy crap, this is all on me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like, man, I hope I got that pitch in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it.
It was a rush. But no, I will never complain about my life. I have been blessed. I ask forgiveness for anybody I've ever been an idiot to. But God is, you've been so good to me. You're always so supportive and welcoming. And, if I die tomorrow, I'm a happy woman. I've had a beautiful life and blessed children. My only prayers now are for the prayers for my children and my children's children and all the generations to come. And we need to listen more to the voice of God, listen less to the voice of the world. Keep music in your life and joy and goodness.
Get out to
the
a
rest.
Carol Marchetti show. Come
Come
get out
out.
to a
We'll
Carol.
have some
When'd
fun.
you're at
Well, I hope to be back at La Villa soon.
Okay. And then we got
we got
Bellagio.
Pasta Me and Bellagio's coming up.
Okay, all
We
right.
have fun at Bellagio, so you can actually move around a little bit and get people engaged, and that's always
Well, and if
fun.
anyone's interested in booking Carol for a solo show, reach out to us because she's absolutely incredible, and it's a joy. And what do you think? You got about 8 hours of music in that head, maybe
Oh
more.
my God.
I can't even imagine. It's beautiful.
Well,
It's
we love
beautiful.
the
We could take you in a
Disney,
lot of.
we
That's
do.
what I mean. She could take you a lot of different directions. You want to dance, you want to cry, you want to laugh. She'll get you there.
We'll have it all.
But man,
Yeah.
when you sing Judy, I gotta cry. But that's the blues, But we smile after,
Music is a gift.
And it brought us back together too. Jesus did, and music is. I don't know. I feel like music's like our little prism. The light that shines through
Yep.
that. And,
through it all. I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot of crazy in the world, but you know what? I think that's what my dad loved about music. There's a perfection about music, and of course, especially not necessarily the way we sing it, but the way it's
No,
written
there is.
and the way it's structured, and when it was recorded, it took him to a place where he had peace, because there's a wholeness in music.
Well, people sing songs, and I hope that when they see you and me sing songs, that they see us sing songs with justice and the way it's supposed to be sung, because I think there's a disservice when you are trying to tell a real story if you don't do it with your full heart. And the reason that I feel everything I do for the people that I do is because that passion is there. And when I watch you and I see the gifts you have, you're my partner for life, partner. So as long as I'm singing, you're singing with me. So
Thank you, Frankie.
and you're my
Thank
friend.
you.
So thank you guys for watching this. This was. Do you have anything last? How about some great advice? Some great advice we'll say for my son and daughter, because they know you.
Sure.
And this is Carol's advice to
Frankie
my
and
kids and all
Melanie.
the other kids of the world. You just gave some great advice, but now I'm asking for more.
Just be grateful. Be grateful for every day. We're blessed just to live in this country. I don't care who's in the White House. It's a blessing to live in the United States of America. You have freedom. You have opportunity. You have family that loves you. You have a dad who will do anything for you, and he's on a good mission. So, appreciate your dad and always give back. Always give back.
That's true.
And where there's a need, lend a helping hand. and you'll never go wrong.
You're
And
the best.
Keep the Lord in your heart.
Amen. Amen. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we're gonna bring Carol back the next time we're doing this in the fall. So we got a lot more to talk about. So
Sure do.
thank you. Cheers one more time.
Cheers.
God bless.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Now we're gonna go enjoy that. I could smell the garlic.
We
Kevin's,
got a good
yeah.
pasta dinner waiting.
Yeah, all right.
Kevin's a good cook.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
I gotta sip it. See, it's good luck.
All right, guys. Well, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. It was a joy. Carol, thank you again. Thank you for everybody for the support, the continued support. If you guys are free this week, let me just open up the calendar. Tuesday, Chicago Prime, Schaumburg, 6 to 9. Wednesday, we're going to be at Sorelli's in Long Grove. It's a beautiful location. They got a nice little patio there on the outside too, so inside, outside. You can hear music either way. And then Friday the 19th, we're going to be at Sorelli's Glenview. That's in the Glen. Absolutely beautiful. That's inside. And the 20th, I'm north of the border again. We got a private party up in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. So it's going to be 3 weeks in a row. I love Wisconsin. So it's been fun, guys. I mean that from my heart. And I'll leave you with this one. Money ain't rich, everybody sins, and nobody wins in a fight. Sometimes wrong gets right. Some of it you learn the hard way, some of it you read on a page, some of it comes from heartbreak, most of it comes with age, and none of it ever comes easy. A bunch of it you probably can't use. I know I don't probably know what I think I do, but there's something to some of it. So, all right, guys, stay blessed. And Father Tony, he's coming this week. We had a little schedule thing, but we're setting up. We actually got the interview coming up in a couple days, but we'll be posting that on Monday. And thank you guys again. And Carol, thank you again. Stay blessed, guys, and until next week.